Welcome to New Life Live with Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's today's host, Becky Brown.
Well, hello, everyone. We are so grateful that you decided to tune in today because I know you want to hear some truth and you want to hear some wisdom. And we've got a couple of great people who are going to help deliver that. And I'm talking about JJ West. He's a licensed marriage and family therapist. He's our speaker at Every Man's Battle, as well as a podcaster for our Every Man's Battle podcast that comes out every Monday. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts. As we also have Laura Mangin-McDonald, who is a licensed counselor. She's an author, speaker. They're both speakers actually at our Intimacy and Marriage Intensive, as well as Laura is at Restore and JJ is at Every Man's Battle. But Laura, I know you always have 1,000 things, 1,000 lanes going, right? Isn't that what you say all the time?
Yes.
What is
Yes,
on your mind today that you would like to share with the audience?
Well, let me pick a lane. Okay. I think what's really on my mind today is a gridlock, a negative core pattern that I see people in significant relationships get in. It can be with an adult child. It can be with a spouse. But here's the headliner. Forgiving is not about forgetting. Forgiving is not about forgetting. And people get stuck in this. They confuse the decision to forgive, to release the person from the debt that they owe us, which is really our gift. Forgiveness is our gift in that sense. They confuse that with processing the emotions, right? So here's what it looks like. In fact, I just had someone said this to me the other day. They go, I'm trying not to live in the past. I'm trying not to live there. And I'm going, well, what's unresolved about the past that you're trying not to live there, right? And what it is this particular person was forgiving her husband of betrayal, right? And she says that, I keep on, he says, I need to forget about it, that he's been forgiven, but forgiven does not mean forgetting. The Lord designed our mind to hold on, retain information. That's to protect us. That's how we know, that's dangerous. I don't want to do that again, right? So this is very much the Cliff Notes, but if people could really get a hold of that, to talk about what happened is an opportunity to heal so that the offended person can gain trust. Like if I'm bringing this up again, I'm needing some reassurance. I'm needing you to soothe me, to tell me it's okay, or yes, I see you, I hear you, and I understand you. Let me help you with that. But oftentimes what happens is someone has unresolved shame, like JJ had referred to earlier, and their shame pops up and blocks their ability to have empathy or compassion. So that's the short order of forgiving does not mean forgetting. Oh, and one more thing. People often use the misunderstand Scripture that God forgives our sins and never brings them up again. But that's God. That's not us as humans.
I love that. I love that. Forgiveness is our work to do. It is our work to do.
Yes.
And there's so many levels to that. I'm so grateful for that lane to be presented today. Laura, thank you so much. We are going to take some calls and, perhaps forgiveness is the stumbling block that you're dealing with, or maybe you're not dealing with. Mm-hmm. We can help you. You can call us, 1-800-229-3000. Sometimes we experience such great pain that we can't even bring it to the surface. And we just live in that regret or that sorrow for many years. God didn't want that for you. He wants a free life, and we can help you get there. We'll be right back after this.
Our marriage was just so toxic and just so many simple interactions that turned into conflict. And so we signed up to participate in the workshop.
New Life's Intimacy and Marriage Weekend examines the various types of intimacy, spiritual, emotional, and physical, as well as the challenges of experiencing true intimacy.
The tools that we received from the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop were tremendous. It was so much that we were able to take and utilize and actually come back and apply.
Don't settle for a miserable marriage or even one that's just okay. It's possible to have that great marriage you've always wanted. The next Intimacy and Marriage Weekend is July 26th to the 28th in Washington, D.C. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50. 1-800-639-5433.
Best decision we could have ever made. There's no price that we can put on having healthy marriages.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
I'm Steve Arterburn with the New Life Moment. I recently heard a story about a couple that brought their two children to a hardware store, and Mom went in one direction and Dad took the kids in another. And for a few minutes, Dad became preoccupied looking at some materials, and when he turned around, he was stunned. His daughter was climbing off a display toilet, and his son was pulling his pants down to take his turn. What in the world was Dad supposed to do now? Well, he grabbed the kids, found Mom as quickly as he could, and laughed the whole car ride home. And wouldn't you know, the next time they visited the store, the toilet seats were all taped down. If you have kids, you know they can be hilarious, embarrassing, tender, and incredibly challenging. And your role as a parent consists of three main functions: guardian, manager, and source. For some help on how you can be all of these to your children, visit newlife.com. I'm Steve Arterburn, and thanks for listening to this New Life Moment.
Oh my goodness, he makes me laugh, and that was just hilarious. Like, I can't even imagine. But you never know what your kids are going to do, and sometimes it's when they're little, and sometimes it's when they're grown up. And it's always something. We always appreciate Steve's insight and just his perspective on things. Right now, we are going to go to the calls, and we are going to talk with Lee, who's calling us from Reading, Pennsylvania. Listens on WBYN. Hello, Lee. Thanks for calling. How can we help you today?
Hi. Well, you could help me with so many things, but my focus today is my parent situation, because my father has Parkinson's and my mother is his main caregiver, and it's just a very difficult situation. I'm not sure there are any really good answers. I see on caregiver support group things, so many going through what my mom's going through, but just doing everything we can to keep things positive and take care of all the needs, and yet getting basically abused verbally, psychologically, and such in the situation. And
so how can we help you, Lee?
At what point do I step in, I guess, is my main question, because I do have the opportunity of power of attorney, but my parents are very codependent, and I hear I could never live alone. If you place get to the point of putting him in different care, and I just don't know where I stop. It's very hard to see my mom struggling and never getting sleep, and just the constant turmoil, and I just don't know where my place fits into that.
That's a lot, Lee. Well, let's start with you, JJ. How would you help Lee kind of navigate this?
It's an incredibly difficult place to be, and I can't imagine having to be there, and especially for a prolonged period of time like you and your mother are experiencing. I think number one is to be that support for your mom, that she's not a bad person for wanting a break from that she's not a bad person for feeling hurt and angry and sad. So to be that that verbal and emotional support for her, but also maybe to be a respite. If there's any, I don't know how far away they live, but if there's any way for you to give her some breaks so that she's not dealing with it 24/7, if she gets some respite, that may give her some of the energy she needs to stay in the battle that she's in. And then third, I think is asking Mom, how do you feel about us hiring an outside evaluator to determine whether or not it makes the best sense and the healthiest for Dad to continue to live in the situation that he's in now? Would you be open to us examining with a third party, not one of us making the decision, but a third party to help us just evaluate whether or not this is the best situation for him and for you, Mom, because I see how much this is affecting you and weighing on you.
It really is hard for both of them, really, because my dad will pull me aside and tell me he can't take it anymore, and then my mom says she can't take it anymore, and he has a lot of paranoia, so he doesn't trust her when she's giving him his pills. He doesn't trust her if she's away from him. He doesn't, he's constantly suspicious, and then he's suspicious of me too and my intentions when I try to help. And so it's just hard.
Are you the only child, Lee?
Yes.
Okay. And do you live close? Because JJ asked you that. Do you live close by? Okay, that's good.
I do live close by, but I also am not physically able to help with care because of my own. I have a disability.
Okay. Well, it's so hard to navigate a new path. But Laura, what would you suggest?
Gosh, I'm just, you said that they're both codependent, so I guess that you have the insight to know the family dynamics. And are you getting help for that so that you don't get so bogged down with their emotions, trying to mediate the conflict? And, because even if you intellectually understand it in your head, emotionally there's that groove where you can get into that. And I think that's where you're getting really exhaustion on top of exhaustion, I would say.
Yeah. I have some close friends and relatives who are helpful and just helping me think through things and decompress things. I don't go to a counselor. Nothing professional.
Well, but that might be helpful for everybody.
Life discovery group, a new life group.
I don't know if they have one here.
Well, we have them all over, and you can access them on telehealth. Lee, JJ mentioned an outside person. The doctor that's treating your dad should be able to offer some resources along that line. Everything from adult services, senior care. It is a very hard thing to navigate. We just went through this ourselves. I know so many people that are dealing with these kind of things. Your dad's Parkinson's is also impacting the way he experiences the world, like you said. And so so it can feel like it's him being paranoid, but it's actually the disease that is taking over. And so we just got to get some objective care in place so that your family can have that support. We will get you connected with a life recovery group, like Laura said, but also a therapist could be helpful in these days where you're trying to navigate a new pathway. And I'm going to send you a copy of 100 Days of Prayer, which can help you along this journey with just the support. But I think that getting outside help is going to be your next best step. Even for your mom to have that counselor could be helpful as well. We're grateful that you called. We are going to talk with Sonia, and she's calling us from Columbia, Maryland. Listens on WAVA. Hello, Sonia. How can we help you today?
I wanted to get some help with my son who's on the autism spectrum. He's high functioning. He also has a diagnosis of ADHD as well, but I think he just has an unnatural relationship with playing games. Stuff like Roblox, PlayStation. whenever it's time to get off of those games, I've noticed his demeanor, his entire personality changes. He's aggressive. He speaks to me in a rude manner. He's angry. So I elected to just take everything away from him this summer. And now at first he felt like he wanted to kill himself, but now he is just in this mode of life doesn't matter. He's sleeping long periods, waking up at noon each day, although he goes to bed at a pretty decent hour, just unmotivated to really learn anything else, just says stuff like, hey, I just want to be a YouTuber when I grow up. I have put him in a number of different settings to help him gain relationships with people. And that's been one of his, sore spots. He's not really able to gain those good relationships. So I think he's developed that unnatural one with game playing.
Okay. JJ, where would you start?
Well, I would start with acknowledging that some of the emotions that he feels when this thing was taken from him, those are legitimate, but he can't just express those emotions however he wants. So he can be upset, angry that it's time to turn off the game, but he can't express it through being rude or being threatening or being refusing to participate in whatever the family activity is. I would maybe encourage you to look at, are there some ways that he can earn some of that play time back? Because the truth is that for kids at whatever age, from young children all the way through adolescence, part of the way that kids communicate and part of the way that kids explore the world is through play. That's their language, if you will. And so I don't want to remove it completely from his life, because that's an important aspect of his development. And it's something that he finds to be really important and significant. But can we add it back in an amount that feels comfortable for you and isn't going to one of the extremes, either no games at all, or you're spending all of your time on games? Is there a way that he could earn back maybe an hour a day or something along those lines?
Yeah, I've tried that. What happens is his desire increases. So when he's not supposed to be on them and he's supposed to be doing other things, he'll sneak at night and plug up and start playing, games when he should not be on them. So right. I want to say steals time, but he goes, and even though I'll shut down the internet, he'll find some other internet and he'll just keep going. It increases his appetite. Mm-hmm. So that's why. And also I want to add, he's picked up watching pornography again. Mm-hmm. So that's something, another component, which is why I kind of shut down the internet and I've taken his phone away, because he doesn't know how to regulate himself once he gets started.
Sonia, how old is he, and is his father in the picture?
Yeah, that was going to be my question.
Mm-hmm. No, his father has never been in the picture, and he is 15 going on 16.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah. Go ahead, Laura.
Well, I'm right on the same path with JJ, is that, his age, and here's kind of the crazy that makes sense in this. Our hearts, God created our heart to connect. And so that phone, the game is his best friend. And pornography is not about sex, it's about intimacy. It's about a lack of intimacy. And so all of this is about connection. And I hear that you tried to set up these times to connect with others. I think it's going to have to be very, very structured. My experience in working with this is that our brain pairs, and we're going to have to pair the connection. So maybe so much connection time, live time with legit healthy person, is traded in for that equal amount of, game time. But the thing is, if he's 15 going on 16, he's a young man. And so we've got that issue to contend with. Do you have help? Do you have anybody from the church, other other men who can speak into his life and spend real emotional intimacy connect time with him.
I have plugged him into the youth group. He has taken a liking to the ministers there. They're on break for the summer, and we are new to the area, so we've been here about a year. And so he does enjoy going. However, okay.
That's okay, Sonia. You can hear the music, and I want to hear everything that you have to say, because this is it's a challenge. It's a challenge, and we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come on the other side of this. Raising kids in this day and age is a whole another game. And then if you add any kind of neurodiversity in there, it's going to be even more challenge. And Sonia, you're doing it on your own. And so we're going to give you some help right after this break. And you're listening to New Life Live.
When you give to the New Life Scholarship Fund, you're giving someone hope for a brighter future.
I was kind of in the closet and hit with my struggle. Your donation really made the difference, especially in my situation, because I ended up getting laid off from my job.
At the New Life Intensives, hurting people are able to begin a new path towards healing and freedom that has an effect on all of those around them.
I think the people who support New Life financially are people that I'll never know. I'll never be able to thank them personally for the gift that they gave to us. Their giving saved me, my husband, and our family from being torn apart.
To help hurting people to connect to the help they need, make your gift to the Scholarship Fund at newlife.com or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE and specifying scholarships.
Someone called and sponsored me to come this weekend. Whoever that is, just know that you saved a life. Literally, you saved my life.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are talking with Sonia, who has a almost 16-year-old son who's into gaming and has also experienced porn and just is really detached. And a lot of it is that neurodiversity and just a new area. But JJ, let's go back to you. Sonia, before we took the break, you said, you've been trying to plug him in different ways. And he liked the youth group, kind of attached a little bit to the pastor, but still not really deep connections. But JJ, how would you suggest that she get some direction in this?
Yeah, so I know that the youth group is taking a break for the summer, but maybe I would suggest call the director of the youth ministry or whoever it is that's running it and say, hey, would you have time this summer to connect one-on-one with your son? Because he does need that male role model in his life that's going to help him identify the fact that these desires that he has, that the video games and the pornography feed, those desires are good, right? He has a desire to be good at things and accomplish things, feel a sense of competence. And video games do that for us. Video games give us I can master that initial level really, really well. And so that gives me a sense of competence and confidence. That's good. Pornography, as Laura said earlier, it gives me a sense of intimacy that I'm longing for, and that's good. It's just that I'm trying to meet these legitimate needs in illegitimate ways. And so having some men in his life who can point to that and say, hey, listen, your desire for that is good. and even expressing it to some degree. Like with video games, it's okay to explore that to some degree, but it's not reality. And so we want to look for ways to experience confidence and competence and intimacy in reality, in your real life relationships. And so how do I start to do that in developing friendships with some of the other kids in the youth group? How do I develop that in the sense of working hard in school or at a job that lets me meet those legitimate desires in legitimate ways?
You know, Sonia, one thing that I want you to pay real close attention to is his cry for help when he became suicidal. I don't know if you guys are with a therapist. Are you working with a therapist at all?
I'm actually, that's what I was attempting to do today, was to call around.
All right. Well, you don't have to,
one.
Sonia. We can
And
get
I
you
called your
connected with.
ministry.
We can get you connected with somebody. You know, I have a son who's 32, but this is part of his diagnosis. And one of the things that has helped me the most has been it's a website called aspergersexperts.com, and I know I'm not supposed to do all that, but listen. The thing that they taught me was that these kids are in defense mode. The world is coming at them. And so the real tight focus on these games and anything else is to give them a sense of calm. The other part of this too is anytime you have a person who gets to the place where they want to kill themselves or even expresses that, you have to seek help immediately. It is nothing to mess around with, Sonia. And I know that you're doing this on your own, but it's worth even just calling 911. We want him to be safe. We want him to have the help that he has. And I know it's a lot for you. We will get you connected with a therapist in your area, and just know that this is a lot. It's a lot to deal with, but God loves him more than you love him, believe it or not. And he's got a plan and a purpose for this young man's life that is bigger than what he's dealing with right now. And it's going to be a great future. We just want to get you connected with some help. We're so glad that you called. You know, we're going to send you a copy of Dr. Alice Benton's book, Understanding and Loving Your Child in a Screen-Saturated World. You know, one of the things that we don't take into account is screens are part of our life, right? I mean, it's just what we're dealing with. But how do you help raise a child in an area of where, you know, you can't take all the screens away because they got to function with that. But we hope that will help you as well, Sonia. So hold on, we'll get you connected. You know, I want to take a minute because we are heading into Intimacy and Marriage Intensive in a couple of weeks in Washington, D.C. And both JJ and Laura are our main speakers there. And, you know, one of the things that I want you guys to talk about is the fear of doing something or doing nothing at all in marriage. Laura, you know what I'm talking about is where we just get into a routine and we just think nothing's ever going to make a difference. What would you say to that couple who is in the miserable marriage?
Well, one, I believe they're miserable. I validate that. But, you know, trying harder doesn't make things change. And that's what a lot of people do. They try harder until their eyes cross and then they go, okay, I've tried everything I know, but you haven't. Because we've seen marriages that are flatlined come to intimacy and marriage, and that we can put those paddles on and revive with their understanding of their core patterns and secure attachment. So that if they've got nothing to lose and everything to gain if they will take that chance that there is something they haven't done. Because once we understand our core patterns, it's a whole new world, and where freedom can be walked in. And I'm living proof of that too, my own marriage.
I love that. It's true. It's true. And you know, the patterns that you get into can either be healthy and life-giving, or they can be destructive and make you miserable. Both JJ and Laura do an incredible job of just ministering, you know, to the people. It's not just, you know, a lot of talk. You hear from them, you go into a group where you have a new life counselor who helps facilitate what you're learning. And over and over again, we hear from couples that say, oh my gosh, I had no idea what this was going to be like. And I'm so grateful that I came. Listen, we want you to be there. call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'll get you connected.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for over 34 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for your life and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow. Call 1-800-639-5433.
Club New Life changes lives.
I think I go way back to listening to New Life, learning so much from it, and then becoming a Club New Life member.
Club New Life is a monthly giving family that helps New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people.
You know, I'm so thankful because you know why I keep giving? Because I keep learning, and I'm so thankful for all the lives that you touch every day and the people's lives. So when I get to still hear the radio show, it's just so encouraging to my heart.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
And you know one reason I give? Because I feel like sometimes I'm hiding behind a counselor's couch, listening to all this great information, not paying. So my guilt of this great advice is alleviated by being a Club New Life member.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. And together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. I wanted to mention our Intimacy and Marriage Intensive. We have early bird pricing that will end on July 12th, so don't wait. You can go to newlife.com, and we've got discounts available for registering early, for workshop alumni, for CNL members, Club New Life members, and scholarships available as well. But, you know, I wanted to go back to you, JJ. What is one reason why a man should invite his wife and attend Intimacy and Marriage Intensive?
Well, I'll speak right to what men want to hear. It improves your sex life.
Okay.
Why does it improve your sex life? Well, because you're building intimacy, authentic intimacy. And you're learning how to connect on an emotional and relational level. You're learning how to listen. You're learning how to identify those core patterns that get in the way of good relationship. And so if you've thought, man, I don't think we can ever change. I don't think that, and usually that question or that thought comes from, I don't think she'll ever change. And the wives are saying, I don't think he'll ever change. But if that's the thought that you've had, that this is just never going to change, we're just in this rut and we can't get out, I'm telling you, the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop can help you get out of the rut, can help you get on a path where you enjoy being in the relationship with your spouse, where you enjoy so much spending time together that you want to express that physically, that you build enough safety that it draws you together.
I love that. We've been doing it for a long time. We've helped so many couples experience that marriage that they could have only dreamed of. And so we hope to see you in Washington, D.C. You know, we always talk about the fact that people listen a lot of different times. Like, for example, you may be listening on the app right now at a time that we are not recording. We record live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 1 to 3 Eastern time. We take your calls there at 1-800-229-3000. But we have developed a way for you to connect with us if you are not a live listener and want to ask a question. And so you can, if you're watching us on NRB or on YouTube, you can see the QR code there. If you're not, you could go to newlife.com/radio and you'll see the instructions there about how to connect when we are recording and we can answer your questions. And we're going to do that right now. We get a question from Lisa, and her question is, where do I find help for my 12-year-old grandson who's been caught looking at girls' boobs on the internet since age 8? Where do I find help for him at this age? Every Man's Battle is for 18 and older, but I'm a concerned grandmother. All right. Well, JJ, you just came from a Every Man's Battle workshop just recently and helped so many men who this was their problem from age 12 or younger. What would you say to that concerned grandmother to deal with this issue with her grandson?
Well, first, I would say I just love her heart that she wants to help her grandson. I would say that it's important to recognize this is a natural thing that happens to a lot of young men as they're growing up. If they're not taught well by older men how to relate to their world in a sexual way, then the natural instinct is to objectify everyone around you. And so he's not abnormal in that regard. This is pretty common, and that there is help even though, yes, he can't attend the Every Man's Battle intensive because he's not old enough yet. There is some help. Hopefully she can pick up a copy of Every Young Man's Battle. And I hope that maybe there's a man in his life, his father, some uncles, perhaps some men from the church that he might attend, that could walk him through that material. Because it's not enough just to hand, especially a 12-year-old, but it's not enough just to hand a young man a book and go, here, read this and it'll help and you'll get better. But actually to be able to talk in a real way, an authentic way about, hey, I like to look at boobs like that. That feels good. Yes, of course it feels good. You were actually designed by God to have that desire. But just like every other appetite that you have, God wants you to learn how to have mastery or control over that desire, over that appetite, and to use it in ways that are healthy and good. And so that's what we don't want to shame the desire. We want to cultivate the desire into what God designed it to be.
There you go. Well, and it's 4 years into a habit. Laura, what would you suggest to this grandmother?
Well, I just will, reiterate exactly what JJ said. I have 2 grandsons, and when they were 6 and 7, they'll go, well, Lala, that really looks pretty on you, or that bathing suit looks good, and they're just so precious and sweet. And they're saying, like JJ said, it's a natural desire. God designed us to like the opposite sex. It's normal. It's natural. But what I've seen, again, what JJ said, is that if there's an alarm, like, there's a panic, like, oh my gosh, they're thinking perverted, or they're going to have some type of addiction, that will shame them and shut them down and have them to do this in isolation versus inviting, going, you can ask me any question. I'm so glad that you trust me with your heart, that we can talk about this, that this is God's design, this is how he made it. And inviting that conversation will help normalize the emotions and then to put them in the proper category to be able to contain and while staying attuned to your young guy.
I love that. And I also love the fact that, as a grandmother, because I am one too, we see these kids growing up in a different world than what we were used to. But sin has been around since the beginning of time. And so it is really, we really have to speak into their lives what God's plan is for them and pray for them as well. I have another question for you guys that was submitted. Deborah writes in, what is wrong with me and how do I fit in? She says, I feel not a part of any group in the Christian community where I serve. I just don't seem to fit. I believe that the Lord called me to teach his word, and several years ago I was teaching and was part of a women's ministry. But she relocated about 15 years ago and can't find her place here. So it's been a long time. I don't feel a part of any women's group. I don't read. I don't pray. I've prayed that God would send me someone I can be mentored by. 15 years is a long time to feel like you don't fit in. Laura, what would you say to Deborah in this situation?
Gosh, what comes to my mind first, Deborah, is I'm wondering if you feel connected when you feel like you are leading something or spearheading something where you have an agenda. And I'm wondering, so you were doing this before when you were leading this women's ministry, but now that you've moved, you haven't found a position to kind of transition into, and that maybe outside of leading, you don't feel valuable. I don't know. It's just something to ponder on. That would be what I would ask you to explore, because 15 years, that's a horribly long time not to be connected, because well, let me add one more thing without this sounding harsh. I always say if there's something going on inside of me, I'm the common denominator in every one of my situations. So, Holy Spirit, James 1:5, what's going on in me that this same type of pattern continues to perpetuate in my life, because I can have a say in it. That's where I would begin.
Right. I love that. JJ, what would you tell Deborah?
Yeah, very similarly, I would start with going back to, okay, so what was it about the relationships that I had 15 years ago in the women's ministry that I was a part of before I moved? What was it about those relationships that I enjoyed? What was it that allowed me to feel connected? And are those details, those elements missing in my current situation? And if so, how do I recreate them? Maybe there's some things that I need to change in the way that I am relating to others. And that goes back to Laura's question of, okay, is it that because I had a position of influence to care for others, that's what made me feel connected? Or maybe there's something different. Is there a way for me to recreate that in my current situation, in my current relationships? I appreciate the fact that she also is wanting to be mentored, to humble herself to get that feedback from others.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're glad that you wrote in, Deborah. And if you want to get connected with a life recovery group, that might be a first step to getting reconnected with yourself. You mentioned you're not praying and you're not reading, and we can get into a slump, especially, look at that, 15 years. There's so much that could have been happening. And, we want you to get connected. That's one of our core values here at New Life. We're grateful that you sent that in. It's always something, and we are here to help you. We will be right back after this break. You're listening to New Life Live.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are. Daniel Grossman on coaching.
Coaches are really focused on the future and helping people to develop those skills and those strategies to help them move forward in their life. A coach really partners with you to focus on things like personal growth or health goals, spiritual growth, helping you develop in your career, or possibly strengthening your relationships, or maybe even breaking free from a negative pattern.
If you need a coach for life, your career, relationships, your health and fitness, leadership, and more, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been screened and certified with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
Coaches use different techniques. Some like to use strategic questions and accountability. ultimately empowering you to take those next steps towards your goals.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and talk to us about getting a new life coach today.
I really believe that everyone can use a coach in their corner.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We've been answering calls for a long time, and we're going to listen to one from Steve and Henry. Go, Terry.
Let's go over here to Bruce from Reading, Pennsylvania. WBYO is the station. Hello, Bruce. Welcome to New Life. How are you?
Hi, Steve. I just want to let you know that you're my hero.
Well, thank you. Why?
Well, I've been listening to you guys for years. We're supporters, and I really just love your show, and I read all your books and Henry's books.
Great. Thank you for doing that and giving us a chance to have some kind of influence in your life, even though we've never met.
Thank you.
It's a great honor. Well, what's going on today? How can we help you?
Well, Friday, I had a shock. A friend of mine who I've known for many, many years just informed me that he's a transsexual.
All right.
And has started on that journey to transition with the hormone replacement therapy.
Well, that had to be really, really shocking if you had no idea.
No, I didn't. And I was just kind of numb. And I really didn't know what to do about this. So, I thought I really need to have some suggestions on how I can best relate to this person.
Yeah.
And he's not a believer.
Well, first thing I would say is that there's to try to find the magic word to change his mind or something, or the magic phrase, that's not a direction to go. And a lot of times as Christians, that's what we're looking for. Give me the verse, give me the thing to say. When I think, your best shot is to try to connect with him, even though it's the most uncomfortable, weird, and strange thing that you could ever imagine your friend would be going through. What does he say to you about you and him, your friendship, or whatever? What is he telling you about that as he goes forward?
Well, I spoke to him just the other day on the phone, and I let him know that I wasn't going to judge him, and that I loved him and would always stand by him. It's just difficult for me to. He said he's felt like this since he's been 5 years old.
Yeah,
and I understand that. I've done a little research on.
You're right. Okay, hold on a second. Let Henry respond here to what.
No, I was just going to ask a question. Was he you said that you weren't going to judge him because was he expecting you to judge him because of your faith, or because just he's afraid all of his friends will judge him, or where was that coming from?
I just wanted to actually be proactive by approaching him with that statement.
Yeah, but you felt the need to do that because why? Do you think he was expecting it because you're a Christian, or what?
Well, he knows that I'm a believer, and we have worked together.
Right, but was that what you were fearing, that it would be the Christian expectation?
I just wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to feel guilty about allowing me to know that.
Right. I know that. There's a reason I'm asking. I'm just trying to understand, were you feeling the need to say that because you thought that he would think any Tom, Dick, or Harry would, kind of be judgmental of that decision, or specifically because you're a Christian?
No, I don't feel he felt that way because I'm a believer.
Okay, so you just felt the need to say that just as a person.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that helps me, because I think a lot of times it's really important. When you're talking to somebody that's not from the faith, the Bible actually gives us a different kind of approach. If you go to 1 Corinthians 5, it says that we really aren't to judge non-believers. We're to judge believers, right? And there's a lot of reasons for that, but one of them is that if you remember, when you came to faith, it wasn't judgment that brought you to faith. It was, as Romans 2 says, the kindness of the Lord leads us to repentance. And so if he's been struggling with this since he was 5, probably just new information, kind of isn't going to do as much as love does, and as much as a relationship with God does. So I would start there and say, just empathize and say, gosh, this is a big decision, and this is a big thing you've had to go through. Let me tell you, in my life, in making big decisions and going through hard things and all of that, no matter what they are, I haven't gone through that one, but I've gone through some. Let me just tell you where I find guidance and strength. And just bring him the relationship with God first and foremost. And I think that that's the most important thing, especially in the beginning.
Well, I'm hoping to have those types of opportunities that I can, give him my story and have what God has done in my life. And I just feel so, I don't know, I'm a little numb, first of all, by the news, and never had any occasion to even speak to someone who's going through this. So I'm trying to relate to what he must be feeling.
Yeah.
As a person making this decision.
Well, one of the things that frequently happens is the change is made, and then, of course, it doesn't fix everything.
Right.
And the feelings of emptiness and alienation sometimes, of course, become even greater after a while. And I think you've got a great opportunity, if you maintain that connection, to be there for him, if that is the case. I just appreciate the fact that you haven't abandoned him and used some excuse to say, I really can't talk to you. Henry, anything you want to just finalize here with Bruce, a willing participant in a guy's life, spiritually?
I just think walking alongside him in love speaks very, very strong. And whatever else you're going to tell him about the information of, what he's considering, is only going to be heard in that context. So I just think you have to really, really be strong there with the relationship.
All right. I'll send you a copy of John Townsend's book, Loving People. Hopefully it will help you, encourage you to stay connected to him. And God bless you for being there for him. I do think that this whole issue, a person goes down a path, let's say they get married and they think, if I just could be divorced, I didn't like this marriage from the beginning, everything will work out great for me, and it doesn't. Or if I could just be a different gender, everything will work out great. If I could just move to another, it's kind of all changing everything that you can externally to produce an internal result, and often it just doesn't help.
It's a hard thing too, Steve, in a lot of contexts of life, but particularly that one. In when we talk to people who are gay that come to faith, the Bible, it puts a lot of different things into a context, that the context is that sometimes in a variety of situations, sometimes people are asked to lay some things on the altar for the sake of their faith. And there are people that do that with their sexuality. There are people that do that in a variety of all sorts of scenarios. But that decision comes in the context, and people's willingness to do that comes in the context of knowing the love of God and being in a relationship with God where they would voluntarily do some things that they think God is asking them to do, no matter how hard they are, because of their relationship.
Right. That's the bad news, but in the end, it's good news, and it's not easy, and it doesn't make sense according to the world, but we think that's the best that you can do.
We love their wisdom. Dr. Henry Cloud's got a book out, Why I Believe. You can get it from us for a gift of $25 or more. We're grateful for your help, JJ and Laura. We'll see you next time.
We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again on Monday for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE. But when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.